Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Haven podcast. This is your host, TR, and today I'm joined by Foreshadow. What's good, man?
Not much, man. Just had a heavy breakfast. Feeling a little slumped, but we're here, man.
We are here.
Fresh set of hours. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Here at Area 41. Just gonna chop it up per usual.
Per usual.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Cool. Well, I guess I like to start off by just, kind of getting some basics.
Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
So originally, I would say the majority of my childhood was spent in small town Dixon, Montana, which now has another name, and now I'm forgetting what it is. It's like Shalip, I think it is. They just recently changed it because it was named after a guy who was not a good person. Oh, wow. And so the government of the tribe changed the name of the town. It's now Shalip.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Small town is probably like maybe 150 people there. I had like 60 people in the entire school, K through 8th. What? Graduated with 5.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So super small environment.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool, man.
Yep. From the Flathead Reservation.
Damn.
Yep. And yeah, it's insane. Small town. But really good for like the whole schooling aspect. Yeah. Very small ratio kids to teacher.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think that's overlooked a lot, but it's very important.
Oh yeah. Totally. Well, what were your experiences in that town?
Man,
like what were they like?
Really great, dude. As a youngin', I moved in with my grandparents. I think it was like officially moved in at like 7. Me and my sister, she was 5. And like that experience, there's trauma there, but the whole experience afterwards, growing up with my grandparents, is all good, all great. They gave us a real good life and upbringing, and the town itself was awesome. Like every other town, there's corruption, but for the most part, as a child, you don't really care to think about that stuff, and so I'd have to say it was glorious. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
What was like the average day for young Shadow?
So I lived, I would say 70 footsteps from the school. So I'd walk out of my house, take 70 steps, and I'd be inside the school. And so go to school. Lunch, I'd go home for lunch almost every day. Yeah. My grandma would cook me lunch.
Makes sense.
PB&J and whatever, essentially. PB&J usually, and some soup or something. Yeah. And then, go through school, get out of school, raise hell with my cousins, usually. Play basketball. That was a huge thing for me. I loved basketball since I was a kid. Yeah. Just a little guy. But, play ball until it was dark and go home and eat dinner and, call it a day, man.
Dope. Great. Yeah. Like the normal kid.
Yeah,
the normal kid day.
Yeah. Yep. So that was a pretty average day, and like that stayed that way for almost up until, sports started. Yeah. So.
What did you play?
The small town 3-sport athlete, basketball, football, and usually did track.
Yep.
So but had a real liking for basketball. Really like football too, but basketball was my bread and butter.
Yeah, it seems like basketball is one of those things that is like also a lot of rappers and artists. It's basketball, you know? Like people love basketball.
Absolutely.
And rap.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I think hip hop is really ingrained in basketball. Also in sports in general, football too. Yeah. Baseball sometimes. I think they kind of go hand in hand. There's lots of, basketball players who rap rappers who play basketball.
Yeah, yeah. Or just like the cultural times, even.
Yeah,
you know, like around those times, like what people were doing, playing ball and like listening to rap, and you know, like there's a lot of that.
Yep, especially rap starting in urban areas, big cities.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like a boombox on the sidelines of the basketball court, and that's just kind of how it went.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and then the reservation, is huge on basketball. It's I think it's a way of healing and a way of kind of getting away from the bad side of the reservation. It kind of keeps you out of the bad, out of the streets, as they say.
Sure.
So it's real ingrained in native culture as well.
For sure. That's crazy. Do you want to like speak more on that, I guess, on like like as far as like staying away from the bad,
Yeah. Just like any environment, your peers are always heavily, you're heavily influenced by your peers.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, it was a lot of my cousins really, but they're into, their they didn't have the best home life. And their parents are into drugs and whatever else, gang violence. And, basketball just kind of kept me away from doing hood rat shit with them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that goes for a lot of kids on the res. It's kind of like I said, a therapy and also just a release, where to put that residual energy that you don't know why you feel like that, but basketball kind of becomes that avenue of release. Yeah. For a lot of kids.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're that young and you really, as you said, you don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
You're just trying to like figure it out and find something to do on the side, and then it's just it's there for you.
Becomes everyday life.
Yeah.
Ball is life. Yeah.
Damn right. Ball is life. Yes, sir. Well, I guess when you're that young, what kind of music were you really listening to?
Man, I guess I could go back to that average day. My grandma always had MTV on or BET in the mornings, like when we're getting ready for school.
Okay.
Eating breakfast, watching like, I don't know, some hip hop or rock or whatever was like popular at the time, some Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And that kind of was like, that was just normal for me. And obviously, my grandma liked probably country. My grandpa was a big Western dude, liked Western books, cowboys and Indians type thing.
Okay.
So like they weren't into hip hop at all. But my mom was like in the whole like drug scene, and like a lot of that obviously also goes hand in hand with hip hop. That's kind of where I really like got the real hip hop.
Yeah.
The dirt, like Tupac and stuff. But really like listening at that point was like whatever I could get my hands on as far as hip hop goes, which wasn't much because the internet didn't exist.
Right. And being in Montana, it's like
what do you do?
Yeah. There's really not a whole lot of options.
Yeah. No resources for that.
For sure. Yeah. And that's how it is though. I mean, it's still kind of like that a little bit, I mean, we do have, obviously, like, we have the internet now, and we have all these different, like, record stores and all that stuff, but, like, 10, 20 years ago, there's really none of that.
Nothing?
No.
Yeah. 30 years ago.
It's crazy.
25, yeah.
And when would you say, like, you first... Like, what age did you, like, discover rap?
Like, discovered and fell in love with rap. Probably, I think I was probably, like, 2nd or 3rd grade.
Damn.
It was right before I moved to my grandma's house. One of my mom's friends had left Tupac, All Eyes on Me, I think the first disc in my boombox. And just it was mine after that. So
Yeah.
I listened to it a lot every day.
When did you kind of decide this is something that I love and like I listened to and now I want to do it?
Man, I feel like that came way later. Like the whole, like I fell in love with it at that point. Like I was like, I fucking love rap.
Yeah.
Just trying to listen to it every chance I get. I also get to give like my dad a shout out because like we'd go visit him sometimes, and he was going to college here at the U, and I think it was 90. Don't quote me on this. 96 when Pac died, but the college radio station had a like dedication night to Tupac, and my dad would like play the radio and record it to a tape so we could listen to it in the car.
Yep.
And so he recorded All Eyes on Me, the whole thing to a tape, and then he gave it to me. And so after I had like probably lost the CD, scratched the shit out of it or whatever, I got the tape. And then I brought that back to my grandma's house, and I would have to like sneak listen it, like, because it cussed, and
Right.
you know, the preconceived notion of a black person talking about guns and violence and money. It just, there's a stereotype around it at that point where it's like, these guys are bad people.
Right.
But nobody listens to what they're talking about. They just hear it and they're like,
And they get all that outside influence
from
like
the news
the
outlets,
culture, the news, the world.
it's like these guys are
saying-
bad people because of this, but
Yeah.
nobody listened.
Right.
But anyways, so that was like taboo, but I would sneak into I think it was my grandma and grandpa's room, and they had a little tape player, and I would pop it in. I would listen to music when they weren't there. Well, one day I fucked up and I left my tape in the fucking player.
Oh no.
And my grandma found it and took it from me. I never seen it again.
Damn.
And so like I lost my only thing
Yeah.
that I had. But like, you know, my dad was always like listening to Quad City DJs and like
Yo.
just like he was always into hip hop. He liked it because he liked to work out, and that music is like upbeat, and you could work out to it.
Oh, yeah,
So he's
dude.
like he's more about like the instrumental, but you know, liked hip hop.
Yeah.
But he's the one who kept kind of keeping me into that whole loop as like that kid, probably second to like 5th, 6th grade. And MTV.
Okay.
Yep. MTV, BET. But then I was like starving for it, I guess you'd say. I'm like so into it, but can't get it anywhere because it's not allowed in my house.
Right.
And so I would we'd go eat at China Buffet here in Missoula.
Yo, so fire, by the way. If you haven't been, go to China Buffet. It's the quietest buffet in town.
It's great.
With the most fire food.
Yeah. And it's it used to be like decently pressed. You know, now nothing's decently pressed. But
No, not at all.
yeah, so we go eat over there, and I'd scarf my food, and like I'm gonna go over to the CD shop, and I would go over there and just like go to the wall, listen to new rap, and just sit there with headphones on, like just soaking it up.
They had the players and everything.
Yeah, in the wall it was budget CDs. So in the wall they had new albums, and you press the buttons, whatever track you want to listen to.
So good.
And so I'd go in there and just soak it up.
Yeah.
And at the time it was probably like Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP.
Damn.
And I was like, what is this? Like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Uh-huh.
And it was not Tupac.
Right.
It was like the opposite.
Right.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was talking about like really obscene and obscure shit.
Totally.
But like the young me, I'm like, oh, this is great. And he rhymed differently.
Yeah.
He had a different style.
Yeah.
And it was like fresh and new and crazy. And I was like, this is great. And so I had a stint of like doing that, but they wouldn't buy it for me unless it was, you know, the parental advisory sticker wasn't on it or it was edited.
Yep.
So there was always that struggle as a younger kid. And then eventually I feel like they just had to let me do it because I was like so adamant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, all right, he loves this music. We might as well let his ass listen to the music because he likes it, you know.
Of course. Which
you
is
know,
dope.
Yeah, no, come, 6th grade, I'm like finally getting my own boombox with a CD, still edited, but
Sure.
I got to listen to it myself.
Yeah.
In my room. And so like that was huge.
No fear.
No fear. Yep. And then so that was kind of like that whole era was like a struggle to try to find that music that I had a hunger for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then then you decided like this is what I want to do.
Yeah, no, it was like still in that era. I just like to write poetry. I really like to write poems.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a lot of poems in my entire probably third grade through high school. I wrote tons of poems all the time, writing poems for different projects. And it was probably my sophomore year. I think I was 15 or 16. Me and my buddy Roman Firestone, shout out Roman.
Yeah.
We went to watch Get Rich or Die Trying. Because that 7th and 8th grade year was like 50 Cent era, bro. Get Rich or Die Trying was like, that's all I listened to. It was all 50 Cent, man. G Unit.
Yep.
And so we went and watched that, and it was so inspiring. Like we went home that day. It was like midnight. Got his computer and his mom's computer, found a beat, and we just started writing a song. We made our first song that night.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so it was at that point I was like, I got the bug. But we're in high school and no resources. Right. So it's like we don't have a microphone. We stole a microphone from the chem lab, I think. From the computers, and it was just one of those stick microphones.
Yep.
And that's what we used, and like no pop filter, like you couldn't even say things loud because it would just clip out. And so that's what we were recording with. And we're like, this is ass. Like, it's not even fun. It's fun to write to a beat and rap.
Oh yeah.
But once you record it and hear it, you're like,
this is not what
it's
we
not
wanted.
it.
This is not what it doesn't sound like 50 Cent, you know?
So I think at 16 is when I was like, all right, this is like, I like doing this.
Yeah.
But then once again, that whole struggle for resources was like, how do I do it?
Right.
No knowledge about it.
Right.
Only thing that helped us was growing up with computers.
Yeah.
Was like, I could figure it out. So yeah,
we'll figure it out one of these days.
Yeah.
Like, there's some sort of technology out there. If other people on a higher level are doing it, we'll be able to figure this out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. And I think all those years of just listening to hip hop and, you're just a sponge. You just remember lyrics. Like I still could probably recite front to back Marshall Mathers LP. It takes up a lot of my brain space that like probably could have put a lot of other things there. But still to this day, like doing that was gearing me up for rapping and writing, because I'm like subconsciously memorizing cadences and like ABAB or AABB, like, like poetry shit. And I think once 16 hit and I was like ready to write, I already had a leg up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hit 16. You're writing, then what happens?
And then we're discouraged because we're like, well, we don't have any resources, so I guess we'll keep writing. But didn't really like take it anywhere. We did show a few people in school, but it was like on the hush.
Oh, for sure. You do not want to be made fun of. You don't want to be known in high school.
Especially in the town. We're in we're on the res, but we're probably in one of the whitest schools on the reservation.
Yeah.
There was like, the minorities were minoritying.
Yeah.
There was like a few browns, a couple blacks, and the rest it was like a farm kid school, man. But I had an English teacher, and she knew that I had a gift for writing poetry.
Yeah.
And so I really got to shout her out because she's like a very awesome person in my like career of like writing.
Yeah.
She pushed me to like keep doing it.
Yeah.
And said that I had a gift of doing it. Yeah. So like, shout out Miss Deckmar. She was awesome. English teacher. But she pushed me to like just keep writing. And so I'm like, okay, I have a leg up there too, because I can write.
Yeah.
And so after that, it was like hush hush for 2 years, and then I got out of high school, went to college, took every loan I could take out like an idiot. No one ever teaches you how to manage money or loans or anything. Didn't care about no, interest rates or nothing. I'm like, give me the money so I could buy stuff to make music.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I bought I thought for some reason I wanted a DJ too, so I bought like turntables. And I'm like, nah, this ain't it. It's not what I'm trying to do right now.
Oh yeah.
So I sold the turntables.
Okay.
And then bought a PC and an interface.
Wow.
And at this time I was starting to like smoke weed and like get into like that era of my life. And I was hanging out with my cousin Buck, who's a musician. He makes metal music. He has forever. And he was like, we bought a like studio a few years ago, like everything you need to record music. I don't know how to work it. Could you make it work? And if you can, you can use it. And I was like, yeah. So me and my buddy Roman were like out there in this like cabin studio tinkering like for days on end. Like I'd come home from college. I went to Dillon at UM Western.
Okay.
I would drive home and we'd go straight to the studio and tinker and like, how can we get this shit working?
Crazy.
Like the computer he had didn't work. So I just put my computer in the line with his equipment. Okay. And it worked. And I was like, okay, here we go.
Yo.
And the microphone, all this. But then I'm like, this equipment's kind of subpar.
Sure.
So I bought a microphone. And then we're on, bro. Like, we're recording every weekend.
Holy cow.
Like, yeah. Like, food at the studio, sleeping at the studio, sleeping in the car.
Damn.
Like, just so intrigued by creating music that it was like I didn't want to do anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't even want to leave.
No. I'm like, why would I leave? This is everything.
Yeah.
And so at that point it was like, oh man, I really love this thing and I'm gonna like try to do it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
But you're in college and like life is happening for everybody. So yeah, I think that's like the real point of like starting
when
the hip hop career,
dedicated to it.
Yeah,
like,
but
this
still
is what
not
I want
like
to do.
I'm not showing a lot of people.
Sure
Because I wanted to sharpen the knife, sharpen the craft before I started being like, I'm a rapper. Because nobody says that around here.
Totally.
At that time, nobody did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that kind of kicked off the whole thing, and I was 18. 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're doing 18, 19. You're in that space. I know just from hanging around that at some point you met more people who did hip hop and you got into a group setting with that. Talk about how that kind of came to be.
Absolutely. So it was probably 2011.
Okay.
So probably when I was really getting into it, 2009.
Okay. So how old are you at this point?
So 2009, I would have been 19 or 20.
Okay.
And then when I met like Keenan and Justin, where we formed the Codependents, I was 21.
Okay.
22. And so that was like, oh, you guys rap? Well, I know these other guys that rap. Type thing. You guys should hang out.
Yeah.
Because that's how people put things together.
Yeah.
And so me and Roman, we made a plethora of songs already. And then like I was producing too, but I also engineered everything.
Okay.
So like I was engineering, producing, and rapping.
Sweet.
And then I met up with Keenan and Justin at Plains Fair. I met Keenan.
Okay.
And he was like freestyling, and I'm like, I don't freestyle, bro, but like, we could hang out and like make some music.
Yeah.
And then that started. And so it was me, Keenan, Justin, and Roman were the Codependents originally.
Okay.
And then at that time, I transferred to the U of M in Missoula.
Sweet.
So I came here.
Okay.
And I was going to school, quote unquote.
Right.
And like really starting to like I'm starting to get into like doing shows. We're the young kids on the scene in Missoula, and everyone's like, wow, these kids got some shit.
Yeah.
Like They're naturally good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the older generation, like Tons of Fun, Traff the Wiz, who were bigger names here in Missoula, they were doing hip-hop here. They're, like, putting us on.
Crazy.
They're like, you guys want to do a show? We're like, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, like, the start of that was like, super crucial to our career.
Yeah.
Because... like, you know, probably the timing was, let me give you a timeline estimate because that helps you stay intact.
Yes.
So, like, you know, that when I was 22, it was 2011, 2012, the Codependents formed.
Okay.
And now I'm dropping out of college. And I'm, like, telling my parents and my grandparents, like, I'm done with school. I'm going to rap. They're like, ha, okay.
Yeah, good luck
with
with that.
paying bills doing that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'll do it. But I knew, I was like, yeah, I'm not making any money.
Right.
So yeah, it was like, yeah, we just exploded on the scene in Missoula.
Just through like people putting you on.
Yeah, putting you on, and then once we were on, it was like we played every show.
Right.
We're playing all the shows and like big shows. We're playing, you know, opening for like Doomtree artists and artists that we looked up to at the time. We're like, this is insane.
Right.
Like getting these shows.
I mean, even when hearing like you open for like Blueprint,
Yeah.
you know, and like,
yep. Doomtree is like a trickle down of like Atmosphere's label.
Sure. Okay.
Can't remember what it's called. It's off the top of my head. Anyways, Minnesota rap.
Like Living Legends?
Yeah, no, like,
or like
what is his label called, dude? How am I forgetting?
Rhymesayers.
Rhymesayers. Okay, yeah. So Rhymesayers, obviously, like, we were huge Slug fans at the time.
Yeah.
And, like, I was more into mainstream. Like, I was a huge Lil Wayne fan.
Yeah.
Huge Mac Miller fan. And I was like into that, but then I met these cats who were the exact opposite. They're like, fuck the mainstream.
Right.
Keenan and Justin were like, hell no, we're not listening to that shit. Like, you ever heard Doomtree? And I'm like, no. They're like, these guys are tight. And it's like just underground versus mainstream.
Yeah.
And so like I pivoted that way. And I'm like, yeah, these guys, they're great. Like, they make great hip hop music. But it's more like what we're doing.
Right.
Like, we're not making music like Lil Wayne.
No.
We're making music like the Rhymesayers.
Yeah.
Like, comes from being a kid and having emotion and, like, being depressed.
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, and so, like, that's kind of the very first move in hip-hop that I made. Like, a serious move was going down that route with those boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 2012, circa 2012, 2013 area. So. And
the scene, what did the scene look like at that point in Montana, here in at least Missoula, or even like stretched out further if there was any stretching?
Oh, that? Absolutely. Man, hip hop was like thriving here in Missoula.
Yeah.
There was fucking weekly shows, I swear to God. Maybe bi-weekly. There was some hip-hop act coming through here. And we had met Chase Bjornson. Shout out Chase. He was like another ticket to like getting all this like really cool stuff, because he had an entertainment company as same as us right out of high school. Like he's pushing his dream too.
For sure.
And so like he's like, you guys want to play this show? Like he was bringing in artists that he liked and then putting us on those shows.
That's so crazy.
And so we're like, fuck yeah, we'll play those shows.
Yeah.
And then those artists, more times than not, would stay at our house. Like, so like we're playing these shows with artists we look up to, then they're coming to stay at our house. They're on tour, you know, so they're like, yeah, we'll sleep wherever.
Yeah, wherever we.
So they're coming to our fucking bachelor pad. There's like six of us in there.
Oh man,
sleeping on the floor, you know, like. They're sleeping on the couches, and like it was like a dream come true. Yeah. But we were really integrated in the scene. Or like everybody knew Codependents because of that. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, they're the guys in Missoula, like doing that thing. So the scene here was thriving, and I feel like Montana as a whole too was thriving. Bozeman had Hemingway.
Shout out Hemi.
Yeah, shout out Hemi, my boy.
Yeah.
And then Billings had like Poetic Intelligence.
Yeah.
It was another conglomerate of kids who rapped.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this, for some reason, hip hop involves beef for no reason.
Right.
So I always feel like there's this unseen, unspoken beef between us and Poetic because we're two rap groups.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the dumbest thing.
I can see it though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. That's just it.
And like we
happens.
were traveling over there to Billings and playing shows with them on the same bill. So it's like you can't really beef with the people you're playing shows with.
Right. Doesn't mesh well.
Yeah. And so that the whole scene overall was awesome. It was so like it was flourishing. Great time to be on the scene and be like the guys. The ones who play every show.
Yeah. And it's like all the time.
Yeah, dude. Yep. Not getting paid for it, but we're like, fuck it, dude. We are playing to like at least 50 to 100 people and playing before some of the acts that we were looking up to and listening to at that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a dream come true. Like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah, it feels...
I made it.
It's like tangible at this point.
It's
it
tangible.
feels real.
I'm like, I could touch them.
Yeah.
And that's like crazy.
Yeah.
And we're all like, this is nuts. We're just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like how it was at that time. The scene was sweet.
And what are like some favorite memories from that time? Obviously you mentioned like being able to just like have these people like stay at your crib and
that's definitely one of the highlights.
Yeah.
It was always cool to like kick it with them after, pick their brain, be like, where you guys headed next?
Yeah.
Can we make some music together?
Yeah. Did you ever like get to do that? Did you ever get to make some music with those guys?
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
We did for sure. Yep. It was definitely a benefit to having a studio in the house too.
Yeah.
So we could come home and fucking,
just rip it.
Usually they're going to bed, but like, sometimes it was like we'd party afterwards.
Oh yeah.
We would party all the time.
Oh yeah.
But they would be like, no, we got to be responsible. We got to get up and drive 10 hours tomorrow or whatever. So
yeah.
That was definitely a highlight, man. And just being like, I think at the time we didn't really realize what we were doing and like what we had like in the palm of our hands.
Oh, for sure.
Because I don't think we were entitled. We just didn't realize because nobody told us.
Yeah.
Like that we were doing like pretty cool shit.
Yeah. For sure.
And so like looking back on that, like that was definitely a memory that I hold close to my heart too. It's like we were killing it, dude.
Yeah.
So those two, and then just being young and doing what I loved. It's like lit a fire for doing that for the rest of my life if I could, So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's going on. Time is moving.
Yep.
What's happening during that time to up, let's say, like maybe when you started doing a lot more solo things?
Okay, yeah. So we had Codependence. We did probably 5 solid years, like 2012 to 2017. 5 solid years of like building.
Okay.
And just like constantly making music, constantly doing shows, constantly working towards the next goal. We went on 3 tours. We toured like same as those other guys, like sleeping on floors, sleeping in the van.
Yeah.
Justin took out a loan, bought a van so we could tour. And like that was huge, man. Like that's a playmaker. Like, I'm just gonna take out a fucking loan, bro, so we can go on tour because we need that. And so we were doing things that were like we're scraping by.
Yeah.
Scraping. Like we don't have money to go on tour. We had to borrow money to, our parents were essentially supporting us, which is great.
Yeah.
My grandparents, their parents, whatever it was. So we're pushing around, touring, like really making a name for ourselves. At the same time, we're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like still not making money.
Yeah.
you know, we had merch, we had CDs, merch and CDs a few times, and never really goes anywhere because we're all struggling to pay rent, or like, you know, all of us were hustling weed.
Yeah.
So like we're all selling weed to like get by.
Yeah.
To support, you know, plan A to support plan B.
Yes, totally. Totally.
Which is very relevant to everybody. But so we toured, and then we ended up getting like a distribution deal with Crush Kill Records, which is Idea and Abilities label, Ideas label.
Crazy.
And they helped us distribute, helped build our platform out, which was insane. Like, we still get listens. I don't know why, but
what do you mean?
We still get listens.
That stuff is good stuff, man. I mean, we were sitting the other day listening to it, and it's so good.
People still be like, "That's my favorite song you've ever made." I'm like,
damn,
awesome. Awesome. I mean, it wasn't bad music.
No, not at all, man.
By any means.
Not at all. Even for the time, you know, where we are in Montana, like just being in Montana and having music like that being made, like, I don't blame people for still listening to it.
No, it was definitely next level for Montana.
Yeah.
I feel like.
For sure, man.
But yeah, so, you know, that all happens, and then I feel like we're at the age now where everybody's like, fuck, we got to do something. Like, in my life, I have to make a change because I'm getting older. Yeah. And so, like, you know, start having kids.
Yeah.
Like, have making serious girlfriends.
Adult decisions. Yep. Not that rapping wasn't an adult decision, but it was like a childhood dream that you were like living out. And then you were kind of like, all right, what's next?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I think we could have just like really stuck to it. And
for sure.
Made things work, but we didn't have the knowledge to do that.
Yeah.
We were like falling short of like that aspect. And so it just kind of petered out.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, honestly, a little tired. I'm a little burnt out. Yeah. Not from making music, but just trying to make it work.
Yeah, trying to make the dream happen.
Yeah, trying to make money.
Yeah.
So then, you know, from there, it's like I took a little break, moved around. I moved like back to my grandma's house, and then moved, like had a girlfriend, moved somewhere else, moved to St. Ignatius.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when I like kind of had the solo idea. That's when Foreshadow formed.
Okay.
And that's when I think I released my first solo song, like 2015, 2016 era.
Sure.
My grandma's house burnt down actually. At that time.
What?
Yeah, that's a story right towards the end of Codependence. Me and Rude, shout out Evan.
Yeah, shout out Rude.
One of my day ones in the music scene, man. Me and him were at my house, my grandma's house in the basement, recording an album, and we just finished it. I produced the entire thing, and like we were on the last song, and it was like we were mixing and playing Skyrim. It was like Skyrim and music, bro.
Yo.
At like late nights, 4 a.m.
Let's go.
And then that day we're like, all right, bro, like we're essentially done. Let's go to Missoula. Like, we're gonna go kick it. We're gonna go party with the homies.
Oh yeah.
And I get to Missoula, and my mom calls me, and she's like, your grandma's house is burning down. And I'm like,
what?
First thing I said was, did you grab my computer? And she's like, no, we couldn't grab anything. And I was like, oh,
no way.
Heart sunk.
Holy shit, dude.
And so I lost everything. I lost all of my studio equipment, all of my hard drives that had all of our music that we'd ever made on them.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And so like it's kind of a kick in the pants, dude.
Oh, bro. And that's a little bit more than kicking the pants, dude.
Yeah, but like blessing in disguise, you know, come down the road. But so we're like, man, what the fuck do we do? Like, we had homies in town that we met on tour, which was like ironic. But we were coming to Missoula to kick it with them. And then I get to town and I'm like, yo, my grandma's house just burned down. Everyone's like sad. It's like, it's not how we're supposed to be.
Bro, that's trauma, dude.
Yeah,
Holy
it was
shit.
Tragic, man. You know, my grandma had lived in that house for like 40 some years. All of my childhood was in that house. Like,
what?
everything from like when I was going to school as a youngin up until the end of high school, all of my yearbooks, everything that like defined my childhood was in there, and we lost it all. Damn. And so it was like, damn, this is rock bottom as far as the music thing goes.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like ground zero.
Yeah, but my grandma luckily had full insurance, and they're like, well, whatever you had, write down. And I was like, well, I had all these plugins. They're like, write the plugins down.
Yo.
The prices of what it cost, and all of them were cracked. So like, I didn't own any of them at the time.
For sure.
But they're like, write them down and write the prices, and we'll reimburse you for everything at the price it is now in this economy. And so like, I had a computer that was fairly old. It was an iMac desktop, and the new one was like iMac Pro.
Yo.
And I'm like, okay, wrote that down.
Yo.
And then it like had some monitors, and they were just pieces of shit. I got these. These are the same monitors I got from that house fire.
No way.
Yeah. And so like, I got everything brand new, a brand new studio.
Holy shit.
Anything
dude.
I wanted, I wrote it down, and they gave me the money for it.
Holy
so
cow.
I purchased a brand new studio.
Yeah.
And my grandma got a brand new house. And that's when the music leveled up, man.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
That was huge. But then Codependence, we came back, we made our last album, and then that was it. It was called Resurrected. Because and the album cover was us standing in front of my burnt down house.
That's so hard, bro.
It was hard, bro.
That's so hard.
But that album, I produced the whole thing, and like, I leveled up production.
Yeah.
You know, I'd gone to Berkeley in that time too, like gone online and did my certification for Pro Tools and learned how to produce in Ableton. And so everything just like in this little downfall after coming back, I'd gone 10 levels above what I ever could have dreamed of.
Yeah, man.
And I just had to wait. And that was the hardest part. I was like, oh, I just want to do everything right now. But it's like 6 months of processing this bullshit through insurance.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom, here's your new studio.
Yep, it's go time.
Yeah, and it was, man. It was like, then I'm learning, and I have new monitors. I have a great computer. That was like up into, that's how I formed Foreshadow, and then Eric and I met. And that's when we did Foreshadow, a layer duo.
Sweet.
Which carried up until COVID.
Okay.
Eric and I pushed the ceiling, bro. Like, we hit the ceiling of Montana. Plenty of times. Like, we did everything we could in Montana.
Yeah.
The only thing we didn't get to do was tour. And we were about to tour right when COVID happened. Like that.
I remember that time.
Like, we had the tour booked. Like, it was ready to go. We were going to leave that spring. And the beginning of the year, it was like, whew, nothing.
Everything stops.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, there's hope. So we're going to reschedule. Nothing, bro. Like, it was like the biggest punch in the stomach besides my house burning down that like I ever had in my career.
Yeah.
Because we were on this trajectory, we were just transcending, man. We're just like playing these crazy shows, playing the Wilma, you know, playing with artists that I looked up to, playing with Tech Nine, Bone Thugs.
Yeah.
Playing with huge artists. Playing big crowds. And people fucking loved us, dude. Like,
yeah.
I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm a step above
I'm
Codependence.
Here.
Yeah.
Right.
And then COVID just shit on us, dude. And we're like, I guess we still gotta make music. Like, you know, that drive in us still like won't give up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're like,
dude, that's
crying
crazy.
on the inside.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that was like a journey. That was what I call peaks and valleys, man. Peaks and valleys for sure.
Yeah.
In the career aspect.
Does that have anything to play into like the Valley project?
Yeah, like the Valley is about peaks and valleys.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's kind of about. It didn't really stem from like the whole that idea I was just talking about. It didn't stem from that, but that's what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously like being in the Valley, like
of course,
the Mission Valley, like yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eric and I did crazy things, released a few albums, some awesome music videos, did some really cool shit, man.
Yeah.
played a lot of cool shows. Yeah, that Codependence did the same thing. Like, we played the Wilma plenty of times. Played with like Waka Flocka, MGK, Tech Nine,
Dog.
just like all these.
People that I grew up listening to
Yeah.
as a
So
like
did I.
12-year-old, you know?
Yep, I remember standing in the crowd at a Tech Nine show and being like, I'm gonna be up there one day. And then I was in the green room and I turned around and Tech Nine was standing there. And I shook his hand and I'm like, bucket list moment.
Dog.
Yeah. Gives me chills saying that.
For sure.
But like huge moments, man, where I'm like, everything's pointing towards like, you can't stop doing this, man.
No,
like,
not at all.
things work out even though it feels like you're constantly taking 10 steps back, you know, like 5 steps forward, 10 steps back.
Yeah.
But it was like perseverance and persistence and just being dedicated and driven.
Yeah.
And having that discipline to just buckle down and go harder. Yeah.
Yeah. Despite what's happening.
Yeah, in real time.
In real time.
Yeah, like you got to think about like things that are affecting you like in reality right now could really knock you on your ass.
Yeah.
But like you have to think about next year. You're like,
You have to be 10 steps ahead.
If I take this blow and just lay there, what's going to happen? Like I might fall back 10 years, you know, like I might never be that person I wanted to be if I take a break, you know,
So that happens, COVID. I think personally that's around the time I became aware of who you were during COVID, because a little like post-COVID, if not during, there was the new wave ciphers. Yeah. And that's kind of when I like was like, this is Foreshadow. You know? And so talk about that time a little bit too. So like a little bit after COVID, like you're on this trajectory.
Say 2021.
Yeah. And then you get smacked back.
Yeah. So 2020, smackdown.
Yeah.
COVID hit. Fucking nothing's happening.
Yeah.
We were booked to do 2 dates with Tech Nine in Montana. 3 dates: Billings, Bozeman, and Missoula.
Crazy. Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, we're rescheduled for the fall." Oh, it's never happening. Okay, cool. So and then it's 2021, and we're like, okay, we had our album. We released Culture of Corruption, and that was like, shoot, the last thing that we've done as like a whole body of work. But then during COVID, I was like, you know, me and Eric were working out of my home studio in Arlee. Like at this time, I'm in Arlee now. I got a kid.
Okay.
Wow. Like I have a kid now.
Yeah.
But I'm still like trying to shake and move and make things work out. And I got my studio as always had a studio like to where I can always work when I want to.
Yep.
Didn't always do it, but it was there.
Yeah.
And so during COVID, this is when my career changed. This is when my career took off.
Took off despite everything else that you've done prior to that.
No, this is where it was like I kind of broke that barrier.
Yeah.
It was one day I was at work. I was doing tile work with my man Sean Parsons. Shout out Sean. Good mentor and boss I had at the time. I was working. I get a phone call, and it was Michelle Mitchell. Shout out Michelle. She's like, "Hey, I got your number from Artie." Shout out Res Boy. He said you do rap, and I want to do this campaign. Trying to spread the message about the importance of protecting our elders and our youth through like following COVID guidelines.
Okay.
And like just because we can't lose any more people.
Yeah.
Essentially. Because that's where our culture holds, is within our youth and within our elders.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll pay you. And I was like,
whoa.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, how much do you want? I was like, I don't know, like 500. She's like, how about 2,000? And I was like, these light bulbs just started whooshing, shing, shing. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yes. Count me in.
Yeah.
And so I did. I did the project. I made Protect Your People, which was like one of my first viral songs. It got like over 500,000 plays.
Oh.
Probably 150K in 2 days.
Oh.
Yeah, it took off, dude. Like blasted. And the crazy thing about that song is I made it in like 45 minutes. And like wrote it, had the beat made, wrote it, and recorded it. And I was like, this is a great song. Like I just knew.
Yeah.
And it stemmed from like somebody offering me money for my service, and that, like, I'll talk about that later, but carried on until now. It like just opened this door of like, why the fuck didn't I ask for money before?
Right.
Like this is what I'm worth, but also now I'm like 10 years in and I'm like, I deserve it. You know?
You start understanding what you are.
The value.
Yeah, the value of who you are
time.
and what you bring to the table after years and years of doing
100%,
and
man.
practicing this craft.
Yep. And so, yeah, I wrote the song, all that, recorded it, called my cousin Buck, and I was like, hey, can you come play flute on this track? He's like, yeah, I'll be there in like 30 minutes. And so, song front to back done in like an hour and a half.
No way.
And like, haul up Coulter. Yo, bro, we got to film a video for this.
Yo.
Hit the video. Boom, goes viral. Get crazy response. Like, I gained probably 5,000 followers in the matter of that time on Facebook. And it was just like a turning point in my mind and also in my career.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, maybe this is what I should do.
Yeah.
Like, the message in the song was pure.
Uh-huh.
And it was about culture. And it was about who I am and my values.
Yeah.
Even though, like, what they wanted me to do is what I did. Mm-hmm. But it's also, like, how I portrayed it.
Yes.
And so it was like maybe I should go this route, like, because I do love my people. And, like, I have a child now.
Yeah.
And I want to have a good reputation with, my music and my community.
Totally.
For my kid to grow up and be like, oh, yeah, that's my dad.
Yeah, dude.
Instead of being like, yeah, my dad's a rapper, like shamefully saying that.
Totally.
And so it just changed my trajectory, man. It changed my state of mind and like my outlook on what I should make music for.
Yeah.
Before, it was making music to get some shit off my chest,
yeah.
which it served its purpose.
Totally.
But it didn't get me anywhere else. It just like let me release. And I still do it, but it's also, I have different views now, and I have different fuels to my fire.
Yes.
What fuels me, what makes me angry, or what makes me need to get it off my chest is more reality, real world stuff.
Yeah.
And so after that, dude, it was like, a few years of developing and like really just being in the community, dude, and like working with Coulter and Michelle to really like make a difference for the people around me.
Yeah.
And that just changed everything.
It wasn't like it wasn't your focus. It was like, how can I take care of everyone else?
Yes. How can I spread the love?
Yes.
Yeah. And also like be a voice for them. Yeah. So
man.
that was like that was a huge turning point, man. Like, just like, duh. Moment, like a duh.
But it doesn't happen like that always.
No, it never, like some people, it never happens to. Yeah.
Right. You're just like stuck talking about like the same stuff you talked about from when you first started, or even like when you're just trying to get things out, like letting out steam, and then you like make the switch to realize that like this can have a bigger impact than just getting it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it's no longer about me.
Right.
Which I feel like when you start writing hip hop, it's like all me.
Right. It's
I'm
that braggadocious, that like, this is what I'm about, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And like nobody gives a fuck.
Right. Even though you want them to care. And like there are some people who do it very well, and they still do it very well. But then like there is no larger mission and like speaking on current topics, current things, events,
things that need to be said.
Yeah, cultural impacts, anything.
And having a voice for other people who can't speak up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's so huge, man. Yeah, but like you can still brag all you want.
For sure.
Like there's times.
Yeah.
That's hip hop.
I mean, but you can lace that in.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's not just like one way or the other. Like
Right.
you can do both
Yep.
in the same swing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So, yeah, huge turning point. And then after that, I was just like, why did I not think about this?
Yeah.
But it's because I matured.
Yeah.
And I thought about future.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about right now.
Mm.
I thought about that 2 years, 5 years down the road type thing.
Yeah.
And my kids. Yeah. My kids really like shaped me into be like, you gotta quit fucking around, dude. Like, you're not a kid no more. You have a kid.
Right.
You gotta be a dad.
Yeah.
You gotta be a figure of a role model for others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and then that kind of like, sways into where we're at now.
Sure.
Like where I'm at now.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And I think, and I hear that now, even like meeting your children, being able to like listen to your new music that you have coming down the pipeline in a couple days is like, that is a solidified message of like, this is now family, culture. This is also getting this thing off my chest, but also speaking on it in a way that is very motivational and uplifting and empowering. And that's beautiful, man.
Yeah. No, it really is. The album is really like, I just said this in another interview, is like, it's the album I've always wanted to make.
Yeah.
But the timing wasn't ever right. Like, and I'm so glad I waited, because it wouldn't be what it is. And it's not a lot. It's 8 or 7 songs.
Yeah.
But
And what's it called?
Perfect timing. So like that's where the whole timing essence comes in, because I've always wanted to make this album, and I've always had the idea, I'm going to make this album and talk about where I come from and what happened when I was a kid and where I'm at now in my outlook on life.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't have worked out before, because I didn't have the scope.
Yeah.
I didn't have the full scope until now.
Yeah.
And I don't say it's full now, but like,
it's more full.
Yeah, it's more full. Yes, exactly. And so like, I really think that Perfect Timing encapsulates that body of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you can rush these things and you can like push to like do stuff. And sometimes that works out.
Sure.
But more times than not, time is going to show you that you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. Time heals. Time can like be long. Time can be short. Yeah. Like, it's like this crazy perspective that you have on it. And then time can be perfect. Where it's like, wow, I'm supposed to be here right now. Let's go.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to do it now. This is it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's where the Perfect Timing album name comes from.
Amazing. And that's coming out
4 days.
4 days.
March 18th.
March 18th.
Yep.
Beautiful. And I've listened to it all.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I love it. It's something to look forward to. It's something to really like embrace, like as a Montana artist, I think. And even just as like someone who really loves the local hip hop stuff is just like, it's bigger than that.
Right.
It's life.
Yeah.
It really is like real life, and it's not just like, I'm in Montana doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing this rap shit. It's like empowerment.
Right.
It's everything,
it's
man.
Voice.
Yeah. It's the voice.
It's and that's just like what I really want to do with my music, is just like be a vessel.
Yeah.
To carry messages, to other people, but also messages from my people to the world. Yeah. And I think that's beautiful. But yeah, I still get on my brag shit all the time.
Yes, you do. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Yeah, man. So it's like, now you can do whatever you want, but I feel like you find yourself in your identity.
Yeah.
And that's always a struggle. And to find your voice and find like, why am I making music?
Right.
It's such a essential thing to think about. Yeah. So,
Dude, crazy.
yeah.
I want to definitely like ask you, because you've mentioned so many setbacks, you've mentioned so many things that like could have just derailed you off of this train
Yeah.
of like where you are now, coming out with a solo debut album with a Grammy winning producer.
Yeah.
I think that's an extremely important thing to highlight.
Yeah.
And like you went through all of these setbacks. What got you through those setback times? What was like mindset, belief, like what was really like getting you through those days?
It's a really good question. It's deep, but it's like not that deep.
Right.
I think I was well versed on work ethic since I was a kid. Growing up with my grandma was a super hard worker. Anything she wanted done, she did it. And so like I hated that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she's like waking me up at 8 a.m. to go dig a hole in the yard, and I'm like, no. Like, I'm a teenager. I'm trying to sleep till 1.
I feel that.
Come on.
I feel that. Yep.
But it taught me that like whatever you want, you got to go get it. Because who's gonna do it?
Right.
Nobody.
It's not gonna get done.
Nobody's gonna do it unless you do it.
Yep.
If you want it that bad.
Yeah.
Or else you can sit around and wait.
Yeah.
And then maybe never get it. You know. So, definitely my drive and work ethic was like, brush that shit off my shoulder. What's a setback? Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't have setbacks.
Right. Right.
I have fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And I think that is like what really pushed me through those times. And inspiration from other artists going through this similar things.
Yeah.
It's like I gained inspiration from other artists that have gone through shit and still prevailed.
Yeah.
And came out the other side. Resilience. Yeah. Like huge on resilience. And I don't think it's not for the faint of heart to like, but that's life. Yeah. Life sucks, and it doesn't get better. No. I hate to break it to you, but like, you just learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to do that in a healthy way, and that's like what will make life enjoyable. But you're gonna, as a kid, you're gonna have those times where it's like, man, I could give up right now, and like we've all had those times where I'm like, if I just dipped out right now, it would be easy, but the easy route's not always the best route, So, really, I think work ethic and dedication and discipline to like my morals and then my goals is what drove me through those times.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man. And they're important things to have in your regiment. You know, like.
Yeah. They're tools.
All of them together.
Yep.
Like you can have one or two, but as a grouping of tools, it like makes you unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, I'm gonna get it done, no matter how it happens.
and now you're here.
Yeah, and now we're here.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to finish this up with just asking the question of like, for any artist that is struggling, any artist that is really looking to grow, what would be advice that you would give them as a 10 years, more than 10 years into hip hop music? What advice would you give them?
Focus on your end goal. Celebrate your small wins. Because that's so huge. And when you're a big dreamer, and like I feel like a lot of us are as artists, we think about the lights, the cameras, the fame,
the money.
But like, how many dubs do you get on the road to that? How many L's do you take? But how many dubs do you get? And it might be baby steps, but you have to acknowledge your wins. Make sure you acknowledge your wins, or else you're gonna lose. You're gonna fall short, because you will fall short every time. And you got to be able to deal with constructive criticism and somebody telling you no, it's not it. And take that back to the lab and make it better. that's important. Stay dedicated, stay hungry. You know, always straight, never forward.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Always straight, or always forward, never straight.
Oh, okay.
Always forward, never straight.
Sure.
Is the saying.
Yeah.
I had an older gentleman tell me that, and it's always stuck with me. I even said it in my album. Always forward, never straight, because that's the path of life.
Yeah.
You're gonna take tangents, you're gonna take breaks, but stay focused on your end goal and why you started doing it. Yeah, I think that's a good chunk of advice for a hungry artist.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Yeah,
For sure, man.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate you sitting down and just like pouring it out, man. I don't think I've heard you talk straight like that for any time that I've known you or been around you. So like that was awesome, man.
It's a history lesson. I left stuff out, but
that's
I always
how it
like
goes.
I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot to say that, but
That's all right.
it's the gist. If you really want, you could Google my history.
Yeah. That's
can see some stuff
That's
there.
a slight flex. Just Google me.
Just Google
it's
me,
like that
yeah.
Lil Wayne bar. Like I got him on Wikipedia.
Not there yet, but soon.
Hey, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah, man. Of course, I appreciate you, and to all of you listening, thank you for listening. And
Perfect timing out.
Yeah.
March 18th.
Yeah, March 18th. Shadow's also performing at the Top Hat on the 28th.
28th. Yep.
And
then Livingston the 30th.
Livingston the 30th.
Yep. All release shows with lophiile.
Shout
out
Loaf.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Shout out Loaf.
Lophiile. Yep.
Big Loaf.
Yep. The man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day, month,
Peace.
year. All love.
Shout out. Yeah, man. It's for all my natives out there. We grew up native. I know my natives gonna feel me on this one. We grew up native, not a damn thing easy. We grew up native where the projects are the teepees. We grew up native right on the R-Easy. I grew up native, I can show you this in 3D. We grew up native with the long hair. Yeah. We grew up native where it's not fair. Yeah. We grew up native, we are not scared. Yeah. I grew up native, I belong here. Yeah. I don't get per cap, I'm a half-breed native. Yeah, the blood quantum killers done attack me major. No disrespect, but don't expect no favors. Just cut the check, I'm tryna stack this paper. To my light-skinned natives, know I got you. And don't listen when they talk, cause it's not true. It's about who you are and not the color of your skin. And when we conquer that, that's a win. We are born into these families with addiction and vision. My mom's moving dope up out our kitchen. I'm wishing I didn't have these cards I was given. I'm tripping, but I know I'm blessed cause I'm living. Yeah, I'm living. We grew up native with our parents not around it. We grew up native at our yaya's house. We grew up native wearing feathers for a crown. I grew up native and I'll be forever brown. Yeah. We grew up native on commodities. Yeah. We grew up native to be prodigies. Yeah. We grew up native, struggled constantly. Yeah. I grew up native, ain't no stopping me. We were never taught how to deal with trauma, and half the time I didn't even get to see my mama. Then we had to learn to survive cause we gotta, and end up in the system cause we trip and get caught up. Navigating life, trying to find the right path to take. Can be a bitch when they waiting on your back to break. Prove them wrong, stay strong, stack your accolades. Never switch up, be yourself, don't be acting fake. Your identity is Native American, no it isn't embarrassing. No comparison to feel like you belong. Keep your head up, don't get fed up. Prepare for the shitty weather. Give up, never be better. Together is when we strong. Hey. We grew up native, our ancestors were slain. Yeah. We grew up native with depression and pain. Yeah. We grew up native under pressure and chains. Yeah. I grew up native, you'll remember the name. Yeah. We grew up native and we'll make a statement. We grew up native, we prepared.